Hello everyone, welcome back to Lucky Loaders 15, and in this video we're going to be previewing day 3 of the Dante meeting at York. It's their final day tomorrow. It's been a good 2 days of racing so far, some good horses to see for the future, and also as well some surprising results along the way. Now before we get stuck into the action previewing all 7 races tomorrow, I just want to reflect on how day 2 went for us today. Not a bad day, it was a bit more like it today. Coronet won for us, nice performance. We tipped it up last night at 9-4 for John Gosden and Frankie Dettori. Really proved it was a class horse in the race. It destroyed Maury. It was always against Maury. I think that horse is really overhyped. And it was a really nice performance by Coronet. Now there was a little bit of concern dropping back in trip, and it probably did show that to some extent because it wasn't like speeding away from the rest of them. It was outstaying most of them. But it'd be interesting to see how that horse does against much better opposition when it does go up in trip, which they'll probably do for future runs. But it was just a comeback run today probably for Coronet, and it was a nice performance. Another horse that won for us today was a horse called Afac for Jim Crowley and Charlie Hills. It was a really good performance in the end. I think it really appreciated the drier ground, the firmer ground at York. Last time out on its seasonal reappearance it ran on a bit more softer ground with a little bit of cut in it at Newbury, and it probably didn't enjoy it that day. Thought it was well handicapped. It drew away from the rest of the field quite nicely, and in the end was a nice winner at 13-2. And then another horse that ran okay for us, we tipped it up each way last night and it was really well supported. That was Rousseau, which ran on really well in the end, and it was only beaten about half a length from the winner in the end, which was a nice horse for Michael Bell there, and it'd be interesting to see how that horse does for the rest of the season. And away from that we had a few disappointing but no real hard luck stories like we had on day 1. All their horses gave their running and they weren't just simply good enough on the day to do the business, but it was a bit more like it today, and it was good to get 2 winners on the board and a nice each way. So hopefully we can continue the good form going into day 3, and our first selection tomorrow starts off in the 220. Now quite a competitive renewal of this race I thought, and the one that caught my eye was a horse called Nickis Angel. It's around about 4-1 with bookmakers at the moment, trained by Richard Fahey, who I think is going to have a good day tomorrow. Paul Hannigan booked for the ride. They've already done quite well at this meeting so far. And on Wednesday on ITV Racing, Richard Fahey was asked about what horse was he most excited for the week, and it was this horse, Nickis Angel. Now it has been really well backed. I saw it earlier today and I was thinking that I would still put it up, and it was around about 8-1, and when I looked tonight at the prices, it's already really been well backed, so they're obviously expecting a good run from this horse, and it's also as well got the form claims to back it up. It won really well on its debut at Musselburgh on good firm ground. And the second horse in that race was a horse called Deep Intrigue for Mark Johnston, and that went up and won at Beverley last week, or earlier in the week I should say. So the form of that race is looking pretty good, and also as well the connections as well. Really excited about this horse, and I thought really had a really good chance of going very close tomorrow, and I think it will go well. So that's going to be the first selection for us in the 220. We then go to the 255. I thought this one was a little bit of a sticky race. I thought one, if you wanted to have a bet maybe each way, was not bad, was Dance Diva, again a Richard Fahey horse. Paul Hannigan teaming up for the ride. 7-1 bookmakers at the moment. Ran okay on its seasonal reappearance, over 7 furlongs on good soft ground at Newbury, behind Dan's Dream, Mick Shannon's runner, and also as well to Janus, which is a horse I really rate, finished second in that race. So I thought that form line wasn't too bad. It was a little bit inconsistent last year, ran well on good ground. There is maybe some concerns by some pundits anyway about the trip over 7 furlongs. I don't think it'll be an issue. If you look at the pedigree of this horse, it's got horses that have run over this far before, so I didn't think that was an issue. I thought Dance Diva in this kind of tricky, sticky race could go well. So that would be my selection in the 255. Now in the 330 in the Yorkshire Cup, the feature race on the day, it's no brainer for me really. I think Stradivarius is the one they've all got to beat. Round about evens best odds anywhere at the moment, trained by John Gosden. Frankie Dettori booked for the ride. Now this horse had a fantastic season last year. It won at Royal Ascot and was a real improver. Won at Goodwood as well, and also as well finished 3rd in the St Leger, and that form of the St Leger has worked out really well. The second Crystal Ocean won on her reappearance this year at Sandown. Also as well, you've had the likes of Rekindling come out and win the Melbourne Cup towards the end of last year. Also as well, Defoe's come out. Coronet was in that race, won today. So Form of that St. Ledger last year is a really strong piece of form, and I thought Stradivarius was the one they all had to beat tomorrow, and I could see it really having a good season, and this is going to be probably a penalty kick for it, I see tomorrow. So that would be my selection in the 330. In the 405, again, a little bit of a tricky handicap. I thought Valcartier was very interesting. Around about 9-2 bookmakers at the moment, trained by John Gosden and William Buick, taking the ride in the Godolphin blue colours. Now this one finished second in its reappearance at Wolves last time out, and it's really lightly raced, and it's going to be going up in trip tomorrow, and I thought that was a no-brainer for it. In its pedigree, it's got more of a stay-in pedigree, and I thought that would definitely suit it tomorrow. Ran okay, like I said, on its reappearance, and I thought 9-2 wasn't a bad price to be getting stuck into tomorrow. The next selection is then in the 435, going with a horse here called Pepita, around about 8-1 bookmakers at the moment. The mighty Richard Hannon sends this horse all the way up to York from his Southern Power base. Russell Ryan booked for the ride tomorrow, taking a good £5 off. You're going to be hearing a lot about that apprentice jockey this season. Already made a good impression towards the end of last year and on the all-weather, and he's going to be taking a good £5 off here. This horse won on its seasonal reappearance at Weatherbeam, really good style. And the second in that race, a horse called Brockholes, went on and won early in the week at Cataract. So the form of that race is working out really well. And from an each-way perspective tomorrow, 8-1 wasn't a bad price to be getting stuck into if you wanted to have a bet in that race. The 505 then, again, another competitive handicap. I quite like the look of a horse here called Kimifive, around about 10-1 bookmakers at the moment. Followed it last year as a 2-year-old quite a few times. Got my fingers burnt a little bit because it never won. It's still a maiden. But I saw its reappearance at Bath last time out, and I was really impressed of how it's grown really into a 3-year-old. And it's trained by Joseph Toot, who's a really good trainer to sometimes follow, who often has a decent healthy strike rate to back. And also as well, I thought it was an eye-catching booking tomorrow of Hayley Turner taking the ride. This horse is going to be carrying a nice low weight. It'll definitely appreciate the quicker ground as well. I think that's definitely a major plus for it tomorrow. And I thought Kimifive could maybe take a step forward tomorrow and make the frame, and hopefully can shed its maiden tag. So for me, I thought 10-1 wasn't a bad selection each way in the 505. The last selection in the 540, the last race on the Dante card, is in the 540, like I said, and we're going for a horse here called Making Miracles. Now this one is trained by Mark Johnson, who's not got the best, strongest record at York, even though he's very local trainer to the track. Sylvester de Souza, champion jockey, is booked for the ride. Now this horse is still quite lightly raced, and I thought the step up in trip tomorrow was really a no-brainer. It's going to like the quicker ground, and for me, I thought it was an interesting jockey booking, and again, quite a tricky race. That would be my selection there, so Making Miracles for me in the last. Anyway, they're the selections for the last day of the Dante meeting. Let us know what you're thinking tomorrow, if you're going to have a bet, what horses you're looking forward to see running. Also as well, please subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't done so already for more horse racing betting videos. Also as well, please follow me on Twitter if you don't do so already at LuckyLoads15. That's all I've got to say. Please gamble responsibly, and we'll be seeing you soon.